Hello everyone and welcome back to Affinity for Commander, where today we're looking at Abzan doing Abzan things and settling in for a game so grindy it's going to give us friction burns. Just before that though, as always, if you like any of the cards you see here, please make sure all your purchases are made through our lovely affiliate links in the description box below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but really helps the channel out quite a lot. And as always, all prices here today are provided by our amazing sponsor, the fabulous cardmarket.com. Now let's get to it. The legend we're building around today is Betor, Ancestor's Voice, a 3/5 flying lifelinker for 2 generic and Abzan colours. They read: at the beginning of your end step, put a number of +1/+1 counters on up to one other target creature you control equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn. Return to one target creature card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you've lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. So the idea is to gain life with either just hitting in with Betor or through other means and then buffing up one creature. At the same time using loads of life loss effects to then return any of our sacrificed or just plain killed creatures to the battlefield. It's a very sorcery speed deck with little pieces of interaction. Equally, this isn't a general life gain deck. We will not be winning using either Lux Reservoir or Felidar Sovereign, but the life total should remain pretty steady throughout, and your board massive. So we're going to take a look at the one-offs first, and it's going to be primarily creatures for a lot of ramp, because we need targets for both Betor's Reanimator ability when we're losing 1 point of life to get value from it, and also I just find it funny the idea of killing someone with a massive Elvish Mystic. Birds of Paradise, Avacyn's Pilgrim, Elves of Deep Shadow for colour fixing, and the Elves losing us a life to get back any 1-drops we've sacked or thrown under a bus. Along with Delighted Halfling for ramp and an Uncounterable Dragon, and Deathrite Shaman. And okay, look, right, I will stop putting Deathrite Shaman in every single black-green deck I make when he stops being good. Until then... Plus, Deathrite works super well with our commander due to his gaining life ability. We're also running Elvish Mystic and Llanowar Elves that don't fix our mana but do ramp us. Blood Celebrant is here for mana fixing of colours, and life loss, same with Noxious Revival and Reanimate. Losing life from Phyrexian mana and then to reanimate should mean we're going to be able to grab back any creature we want from our graveyard due to the amount of life we're losing. Now for the life gain side of things, Soul Warden to gain life for each creature entering. Authority of the Consuls now doesn't generate us life, so we can't abuse it on our turn to get Betor's ability, but it does synergize with other cards in the deck, and it's just generally a great way to slow the game down to our speed. And finally, Serra Ascendant, because hitting for 6 and then putting 6 +1/+1 counters on a creature for 1 mana is broken. Well, you know, almost slightly more broken than this card is normally anyway. Up to the 2-drops, and we've got more life loss shenanigans. Starting off with the talismans of Hierarchy, Resilience, and Unity, normally very good for ramp anyway, but being able to lose a life for the mana is so important for Betor's abilities. Someone kills the Serra Ascendant, so in our next turn we just tap the talisman for a mana to take a damage, and then bring it right back in the end step. Infernal Grasp, Night's Whisper, and Sylvan Library all lose us life to get a better Betor trigger in our end step, the library definitely being the best. It's always risky to take an additional 4 life, but when it's drawing you an extra card and being able to get a 4-drop directly into play from the grave, it's just too good to pass up. For gaining life, we've got Blind Obedience to slow the game down a bit, plus the Extort trigger. Blood Artist and Elas Il-Kor both have a great drain effect, and might even be the target of Betor's abilities. Would love to kill someone with a swole Blood Artist. Some cards to look to get back are Accursed Marauder, a lovely 2-mana edict effect, Secure Tribe Elder because sacking Steed to get land, casting Night's Whisper to draw 2 cards and lose 2 life, and then get Steed back seems like incredibly great value. Sidisi, Regent of the Mind, can also get back creatures, but more importantly she can fill our yard with smaller creatures to make the most of Betor's ability. We certainly do not want to be going to the end step having lost a ton of life and have nothing to reanimate. The last 3 cards are Lightning Greaves for protection of our commander and haste so that lifelink can start putting counters on creatures immediately, Crashing Drawbridge again for more haste, And finally, Karlov of the Ghost Council, as we'll be gaining a lot of life, and being able to exile creatures in addition to having a massive beat stick makes Karlov a staple for Lifegain decks and a staple here. Especially considering Betor can just continue to put counters on Karlov himself. On to the 3-drops now, and this is primarily where we have most of our removal. Anguished Unmaking, Dismember, and Reckless Spite all get rid of problematic permanents, but loses a life to make sure we get a creature back with Betor's ability. And we also are then running, of course, Toxic Deluge in this little group as well. A 3-mana board wipe that gets on it indestructible is always good. Speaking of losing life, Black Market Connections and Phyrexian Arena can both draw us cards, but the Connections gives us that excellent options of getting a treasure or just a body. But we also need to not be dying to our own card's effects, so Kambal, Concept of Allocation, could be gaining us a tiny bit of life, and the Gaffic drawing us a card in each end step if we gain 3 or more life. Then for the +1/+1 counter synergies, Inspiring Call gives those countered up creatures indestructible and draws us cards. Kami of the Whispering Hope adds more counters and will hopefully be tapping for a ton of mana. We're also running Indulging Partisan as a means to keep draining our opponents, and Plague Crafter for more reanimation target edict effects that also hit players with no creatures, which is always nice. Well, nice for us. And the last card at 3 CMC is going to make sure we have good stuff to bring back, which is Buried Alive. Putting any 3 creatures we want in the bin, and with triggering Betor's ability, we are essentially just going to be putting any card we want into play directly for 3 mana, provided we've lost the required amount of life. Now at the 4-drops, it's more about life balancing out to make sure we're not just straight dying. Plus we've also got a Unicorn. Lathiel, the Bounteous Dawn, does a different version of Betor's ability, spreading out counters rather than just putting them on one creature. Rock's Faithmender causes us to be gaining twice the normal amount of life, which in turn should make some massive creatures. But back to losing life. Greed is on-demand life loss and card draw. Snuff Out is free removal for the cost of 4 measly life. Meanwhile, we're needing more cards to take advantage of these life differences. Enduring Tenacity means that for every Authority or Obedience trigger, we're hurting our opponents. Mortality Spear is cheap removal. Violent Tumor makes sure we've got something good to get back from a grave with Betor and all this life loss. And the final card, Will of the Abzan. Apart from being very flavorful, our opponents losing their strongest creature and then reanimating something is very on theme for the deck. Now up to the top spots, and it's time for some bigger hitters. Celestine, the Living Saint, is a reverse of our commander's last ability, but has flying and lifelink themselves. Doom Whisperer is a great card for this deck, with on-demand life loss and then fueling the grave with stuff to get back. And also, you know, a 6/6 flying trampler is pretty good. Gravebreaker Lamia is another grave tutor, and Phyrexian Delver lets us reanimate any creature, lose probably quite a bit of life, and then get another creature back in the end step. Dragonlord Dramoka is not only a good Grand Abolisher on steroids, but also gives us a 5/7 flying lifelinker to then maybe just get 5 more counters on them, and then be able to hit in with a 10/12 lifelinker next turn. And the last creature is Beladros Witherbloom. 1/1 pest tokens for life gain and blockers, and untapping all lands, and then being able to get back any creature from our deck with that 10 life loss. Honestly, these dragons were a match made in heaven. The last few cards are 100% here, hoping we've got enough life to spare with all our lifelink and various enchantments in the early game to be able to use them properly. Stinging Study is an instant speed, draw 5 cards for 5 mana, but losing fire life in the late game might be a killer if we aren't careful, or if someone kills our Soul Sister. Borlas's Citadel is, whilst a game changer, simply too good not to put in. Even if it's only used to get a single 4-drop, then that's still a decent beta trigger as well. And finally, Nissa Ascended Animus, a plus that makes us another creature, a minus to destroy any annoying artifact or enchantment, and a -7 that we very well may be able to do the turn she comes down, just to overwhelm and kill at least one player. But also she can just be cast for her Phyrexian mana to lose us 4 or 2 life on cast. Now onto the lands, and oh boy, you better believe it's painful. Caves of Kolios, Brush, Land and Llanowar Waste all let us lose just 1 life guaranteed. Castle Locthwain for painful card draw, City of Brass for colour fixing, and Hall the Bounded Lord because haste on a colourless land is still rather good. All of which again will be losing us life to get back any creatures we've lost along the way. We then have the Black Gate again to bolt ourselves and then give one of our lifelink unblockable. But okay, let's try and claw back some of this life we're kind of frivolously wasting here. High Market, hoping to sack a pest token from Beledros to get 2 life, the Shire for food production, and Vault of the Archangel to give lifelink and death touch to our creatures that now will have a bunch of +1/+1 counters on them to go in for a big life swing. Now, I do want to touch on the combos for this deck in their own new little section, because I want to make sure that we're having combos in here where the cards are separately good by themselves, not just there to win the game. In terms of the combos I've included here in the deck list, I have Heliod to give lifelink and putting +1/+1 counters on things, so they're kind of a no-brainer with our commander, and then also Walking Ballista. Again, a card that loves having +1/+1 counters put on them, so both cards are fine in the deck alone. But together you give this Walking Machine Gun lifelink with Heliod's ability, remove a counter to deal damage, and then get the counter back thanks to Heliod's other ability, Wash, Rinse, Repeat for infinite damage. Now you could also include the Karmic Guide and Revelark combo here due to the Reanimate theme we have going, and again, both are great and fine cards. But I always felt there's just more hoops to jump through with getting the Revelark back with Karmic Guide, sacrificing the Guide, the Revelark to get the Karmic Guide back, and then something else, and on and on and on. As this requires both creatures, a Sacolet, and then hopefully a draining card that's already in the grave or in play. Which, that's a lot more to do than, 2 cards that work fine, again, together by themselves in the deck. But I thought I'd show at least one alternative combo that people might want to go with. Overall, Betor is a lovely, grindy Abzan Lifegain deck that shouldn't feel too much like a Loro at times, but also shouldn't feel like you're going hell-bent playing a Keurig deck. But for Betor, your life is a resource and you will be 100% rewarded for using it efficiently. I think I'm going to take a break from talking about dragons for a while. It's been quite a few weeks of just talking about the scaly boys. I wish for something a bit different, I wonder what's the most popular thing at the moment. God damn that monkey's paw. And that'll be the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. What are your favourite cards to put in any life gain and drain deck? Leave them in the comments below. As always, all Affinity for Commander content is made possible thanks to support of our amazing patrons. You guys are truly awesome. If you too like to become a patron of the channel and get access to exclusive cEDH traded rewards, including our Discord server, then be sure to check out our links in the description box below. You can also support the channel through the quick and easy ways liking this video, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, and commenting below. But, as always guys, I've been Alex, and I'll see you next time.